through the room or maybe in other parts of the house and find weapons. So it says to gear up. Each player looks through the item deck for a weapon card of her choice with the keyword kitchen or study. So all of your weapons along the bottom should say either kitchen or study at some part. So these are all available to you. Most of them we tried to match up with what you have on your player card just to give it a little flavor. But so we've done that for you, so we don't have to do that step. However, shortly after you find your weapons, you hear something kind of frightening, and a purple glow emanates from under the bed. Crawlies have appeared. So you guys need to fight them. Grab a number of crawly figures and their cards equal to the number of stuffies in play. So that's going to be 4. Fortunately, there is exactly 4 crawlies. So this is called the threat track or the sidebar. You're going to put enemy cards on the track. You guys don't know exactly how the game works yet as far as taking your actions and stuff, but essentially you're going to draw dice. Black dice, instead of getting used, get added to this track. As soon as you've got 4 black dice, or as many black dice as there are enemies, they take a turn. So they won't go unless you guys draw black dice, but eventually you'll get to them. There's 5 in here. Okay, so now we need to put the stuffies on the crawlies on the board. You'll notice each crawly has a different shaped base. That corresponds to the card underneath, where it says their name. It's got a picture of them. Excuse me. It has their difficulty level or kind of what type of enemy they are, and then that is their health value, which I'll explain later. But the shape is basically corresponds to their base. And then next to that is their AI. So on their turn, you'll roll a die, and you'll do either the one part or the other, depending on what you roll. It's very straightforward.
Stuffed Fables.
All of these are normal, except the circle is a leader. So we'll put the leader in the middle, and we'll put the other ones around it.
Oh, I'm sorry. This goes to you. This goes to you.
All right. So place the crawly cards face up. Yep, did that. Each player places her stuffy figure on or adjacent to the space mark with the paw prints. So go ahead and bring your stuffy figures over. Does anybody have a place they'd like to be over any others? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I'd probably want to go in the back.
In the back? All right. Alright, so you have to go adjacent to the paw prints, so you'll actually be 1 row up. That's okay. Starting with the bookkeeper and proceeding to the left. So the bookkeeper to start is Stitch. Players will take turns until all crawlies have been defeated or all the stuffies have collapsed. So as you take damage, you lose stuffing. If you lose all of your stuffing, you collapse. You're not out of the game. There are ways to come back, but if all of you collapse, you're kind of lost.
Sequel to Mice and Mystics.
That won't happen, I promise. So, on your turn, you're going to take 5 dice from the bag. If you grab more than 5 on accident, put all of them back and try again. Like this, I grabbed 6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's a terrible draw because I drew 2 black dice. You don't want to do that ever. So if you draw a white die, you can immediately try to gain more stuffing, even if you already have 5. There's no limit to how much stuffing you can have. To gain stuffing, you're going to take any white dice you have and roll them. And if you roll equal to or greater than the number of stuffing you have, you add a stuffing to your character. So we're all starting with 5. So if you draw white dice, you'll have to roll a 5 or a 6. If you draw 2 white dice, you can roll them separately. The second one you would need to roll a 6 on. If you draw 3 white dice somehow, the second roll you can combine dice together to get greater chances, and actually you'll want to because if you happen to get 6 stuffing, the third die won't do anything for you. So you can roll dice together, but it's 1 stuffing per roll. So even if you're at 5 and you draw 2, you might want to roll them both together just to guarantee you get that extra stuffing. Thank you. So we'll use the white die. The black dice immediately go to the threat track. If there was only 2 enemies, they would take a minion turn at the end of the turn that we're currently on. The other dice are going to be coordinated to the colors on your attribute dice cheat sheet cards. So those cards basically go over what the dice are mainly used for. You can use any die color to move. To move, you pick the dice you want to use, you roll them either added 1 at a time or together, and you move that many spaces. So in this roll, I just rolled a red. I got 6. My character can now move 6 spaces. If you're looking at the board here, there are some green. It is green. It's hard to tell because of the blue, but green lines. You need to roll a green die in order to cross those lines. So you can move anywhere with any color, but in order to get up on the bed where the enemies are, you'll need to roll a green. It's only a movement restriction. It doesn't stop you from doing any range attacks or anything like that, which I'm about to get to. So purple is special case. We'll save that for the end. need green, yellow, and blue. Here we go. So red dice is used for any melee attacks. If you want to melee attack somebody, you need to use your red die. You need to have a melee weapon to make a melee attack, which Lumpy and Theodora have a melee weapon. So it says under the name that it's a melee weapon, and then when they roll red dice on this attack, they get +1 to each die they roll. So if you roll 2 dice, you would get +1 to each. Green dice are used for range attacks, so each of you have a ranged weapon, flops and stitch. The range of your weapon is directly under the name, so you can shoot 3 spaces and you can shoot 4, I believe. On your range attacks, you get +1 to your green dice. You also get +1 to yellow dice when you search, but that's going to be something that comes up later. Yellow dice are used to search. Basically, it'll be on the next map. You'll have the opportunity to search. I'll go over that when we get there. For now, yellow dice, you can use them to move, but obviously they're not green, so they won't get you on the bed. Blue dice aren't tied to anything, but at any time during your turn, you can store a die on your card for your next turn. Blue dice can be used to move, just like any other color. However, if the minions take a turn and they attack you, you can only use dice that you have stored in order to roll defense. If you don't have a die stored, all of the damage will come straight through, and in 2 attacks, you'll be out of stuffing. Purple is a wild card. You can use purple in place of any color. However, any restrictions or bonuses laid on a color cannot be used with purple. So you can use purple as melee, but the wooden spoon wouldn't give it a benefit because it only benefits red dice. The restriction to color this is green dice specific. You can use purple to move, but even though you can use it as a green, it is not green, so it won't get you over the line. Does that make sense? So after you use all 5 of your dice, another thing you can do, you can encourage another stuffing. To encourage another stuffing, you don't have to be next to them. All you have to do is either give them one of your dice for them to store on their card, or you can spend your die so you don't roll it or use it, you just get rid of it, and then give them one of your stuffing. So you take stuffing off of your card and put it onto their card. So in that way, if somebody's low or even if somebody's collapsed, you can kind of prop them back up and then they can take a turn. So we're going to go ahead and put all the dice back in the bag, and we'll let Stitch take the first turn.